in to the right and to the left of you, spectators?
It was pretty packed, correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. At some point, and we can take this exhibit down, at some point did you hear some type of commotion?
I did.
Do you know where in the parade route, like what floats had just gone through or what floats were in front of you? Did you?
Yeah, I didn't recall at the time what float was about to come in front of us, but I do know that the Dancing Grannies had just passed us.
Okay.
And then that's when I heard the commotion, an audible gasp. There was a large vehicle kind of blocking our view of what was coming, kind of obscured anything, and then that's when I saw a red SUV from the north side come around in front of that vehicle. It headed straight for that corner where our children were, so it was kind of coming dead on at us. And then at the last second kind of clipped that corner and then veered off, and I saw it continue on into the Dancing Grannies group.
So as you were looking to your left, which would be, and I'm horrible at directions, it would be to the east. As you were looking there, when you said you heard a gasp?
Yeah, like an audible gasp, commotion, just in eerie sound of not parade sounds, just a loud, like, draws your attention to something is going on, but we couldn't see because, again, there was a large vehicle right there.
And I'm assuming the large vehicle that you're describing was part of the parade?
Correct.
Approximately how far to your left, as you're looking at the parade, was the vehicle when you first saw it, the red SUV that you've described?
Hold on, there's been an objection. I was mid-question, so if you could just re-ask it, I didn't hear it all.
Approximately how far from your position was the red SUV when you first saw it?
It would have been.
Oh, is there
There's been no objection to that, so he may answer.
Okay, thank you.
It would have been on, I believe that's the south side of the street, so maybe 30 feet.
So you first saw it approximately 30 feet to your left, and it would have been on the opposite side of the road from where you were seated?
Yeah, just on the other side of the large vehicle, that Suburban that was there.
So on the driver's side or the passenger
Driver's
side?
side.
Thank you. So the vehicle comes on the driver's side of that car that was in the parade. What do you see next?
I saw it come along the side of it, and then once it cleared that vehicle, it made it which would have been a right-hand turn right towards our corner. I remember having a split second of what is going on, and then I remember screaming, "Get back," because all of our children were right there. It came through, it veered off, and my immediate thought was he hit something in the front there and then continued off. I would say the parents, mostly the dads, kind of ran up there and kind of check on the children, and I recall at that moment, after a second pause, looking down the road to see where it was going. My immediate thought was to kind of run after it, and then I realized I had an injured child and a 3-year-old as well that was there. I distinctly remember seeing 2 victims laying in the street, and then I looked up the other way where it had come, and I saw a woman with plaid pajamas lying in the street up the road, and that's when I grabbed my daughter and grabbed her to pull her back.
So when you said that you looked to your right and you saw 2 other people in the roadway, were they from your group or were they from a different group?
This was after probably 3 to 4 seconds in duration. It was advanced up into the Dancing Grannies group that had just passed us.
Could you tell the path of travel as you said it was heading towards your corner and then it veered away? Do you recall, can you describe that?
Yeah, it veered away and then headed right back, continued down Main Street, seemingly right down the middle of the road.
Okay. And did you see it impact the grannies, or
I did
did you
not.
just see bodies after the car went through them?
The victims on the ground.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, do me a favor. try to wait until she's fully asked the question. I know it can be a little nerve-wracking, just so that the record is clear. Thank you so much.
Sir, how old are the children, your children that were at the parade?
Objection.
Overruled.
My children at the time was 7, and my youngest was 3.
And they were, you indicated if I can have Exhibit 51 back up? Again, if you can put an X approximately where you were standing.
I believe I was standing sort of right back there a little bit on the sidewalk.
Okay, and your 7-year-old was approximately where? And your 3-year-old?
She had just come back by me a few minutes prior, so she was back by me.
She was up on the curb.
Correct.
And the path of travel as the vehicle came towards you, can you put an arrow approximately where you think it was veering from and where it was going towards?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled.
I believe it was coming right at us and then quickly went that way.
Okay, thank you. Were you able to estimate how fast the car was going?
Faster than normal speed limit on that road, I would say 25 to 30 miles per hour.
Did you hear a horn honking prior to it coming up on your group?
I did not.
Did the vehicle stop? Strike that. Were any people that were with your group injured?
Yes.
Who was injured?
My daughter, my 7-year-old daughter, had her foot ran over, her left foot, broke 4 toes, and also her tibia and fibula in her leg. And then there was another friend of ours, younger daughter, who was next to her. I believe she got sideswiped from the vehicle with some face damage. Sorry.
And what was that that girl's last name?
Knapp.
K-N-A-P-P?
Correct.
And your 7-year-old, what is her name?
Brinley.
B-R-I-N-L-E-Y?
Correct.
Okay. Did you said that there was something with her tibia and
Fibula. Correct.
fibula. Were they broken?
They were
or?
broken. Yes, sorry. They were
Okay,
broken.
sorry. What did you do?
At that moment,
Right after the car went past your
Yep.
daughter?
So we leaped up. My daughter was crying. Many of the children were crying. We were trying to triage through and just seeing who was injured, and because it came that close. And again, I had looked down, kind of just assessed the situation a little bit. I had grabbed my daughter, had set her back on the curb a little bit, grabbed my oldest daughter, sorry, with the injuries. I grabbed my 3-year-old and set them there as well. And then at some point, a few moments later, got them. The other parents were lining up the children on the side of Clinton Street, on the side of the Steaming Cup, over in this area. So we eventually moved the kids back there.
Did you take Ridley that evening for medical care?
I did not.
Okay. How did you know that she had broken toes?
So there's a couple variables that came into play there. We did not know at the moment. I knew that she had a foot injury, and I did the typical dad thing, and I downplayed the initial injury. I carried her to the car. At the time of walking to the car, as a leader at Pro Healthcare where I work, I got an alert that the hospital was on lockdown. So my initial thought was to take her up to the hospital myself. Her acuity versus other victims laying in the road didn't warrant her waiting for an ambulance, that I could take her. At that time, when I got the lockdown notice on my phone, I decided to call my wife, who was a nurse practitioner in urgent care at the time, and I said, you're going to want to check this out. She was almost done with her shift anyways. We lived 15 minutes from the house, so we kind of convened there. She looked at it and decided to take her in at that moment.
So what foot was run over?
Her left foot.
When she, after the car drove over her foot, did she still have her shoe on?
She had, no, both shoes had come off. somehow, but both, we lost one eventually, and then the other one, we found one.
Were you able to look at specifically the left shoe after the car went past?
I will.
Irrelevant.
Overruled. You may answer.
I did see the shoe later on. I think it was the next morning when we kind of had a chance to collect ourselves, and I recall seeing a tread mark across her shoes.
That be consistent with the tire mark?
It would be.
So the right shoe was unable to be located that
right.
night, correct?
Correct.
And the left shoe you did find, and that's what you took home with you?
Correct.
Now, you said that at the time you didn't feel that your daughter should be taken by ambulance because of what you were seeing. Can you describe to the jury what you were seeing?
Just mass chaos. Nothing like I'm a combat veteran. I've been around mass hysteria most of my career, and I had never seen anything like this in such a safe environment where it was just hysteria, screams, sirens everywhere, just and unknowing, are there other vehicles coming down? Like what is actually going on here? So it was just an odd, eerie feeling for a very long period there.
And you had indicated you had seen a woman with plaid
It
pants.
seemed like pajama pants. Correct.
Okay, to the left of you.
Correct.
And did you see her being treated?
I saw many individuals standing around her. I know that one of the parents in our group is a physician. I believe she went on to render aid somewhere. I don't know if it was her or not, but I remember seeing a large presence around that woman.
And then, did you see any bodies to the right of your position?
Yes, that's where I saw two within, which would have been part of the dancing granny group. I don't know if they were the grannies or not at the time. I just knew that there were two people laying on the ground.
So I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 15. And I'm just going to have it viewed in front of you initially. Do you recognize generally this map?
I do.
And do you see the position that you and your family were on November 21st of last year?
I do.
And do you see your daughter's name in a box that's above the word steaming cup?
I do.
And it's connected to a star that's orange in color?
Correct.
Is that the approximate location of where you and your family were when your daughter was run over?
That
Your foot
is.
was run over?
Yes.
May I publish it to the jury? It's previously been admitted.
You may.
Again, showing the jury State's Exhibit 15, if you can circle the orange star that's associated with where your daughter was struck. Thank you. And the approximate location that you observed the woman to your left?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
And to your right? Next, I want to show you what has been...
Before you move on, I just want the record to reflect, because it wasn't screen captured, that the stars that he circled on Exhibit 15,
Actually, sir, before, so we can capture it, can you again circle the area where you and your family were?
Objection already.
overruled. He may do it again since it was cleared before we captured it.
And then the area where you saw a body down on the ground to your left?
Plaid pants.
And that's, you indicate that she had plaid pants, or it was a woman who had plaid pants?
Plaid, looked like pajama pants.
Okay.
Correct.
Do you recall what else she was wearing?
I don't.
Okay. And then to your right? Okay. And that would be the circles, if we can save that and mark it as 15. Hang on. Okay.
I think we're on B as well. It'll be marked as Exhibit B.
Thank you.
Sorry, 15B.
And where you marked the circle to your left, that was associated with the same place where there's a name Jane Kulik?
Yes.
Overruled.
And where you circled to the right, there are 7 different names under dancing grannies. Is that fair?
Objection. Leaving the
Overruled. You may
witness.
answer.
Yes.
Obvious from there.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part that you said, Mr. Brooks. Are you withdrawing that?
No, I'm not.
What did you say then?
I said it's pretty obvious from the picture. It's leading the witness.
All right, your objections noted. It's overruled. His answers may stand.
Thank you. Sir, I'm next going to show you Exhibit 49, which is a video. I'm first going to have it played or put in front of you on your screen. If you can just let me know when you see a depiction on that screen.
I see it.
And you saw first couple seconds of that. Let me play it one more time and then ask you if you recognize that. Okay. I stopped it at 3 seconds. And do you recognize that area?
I do.
What is that area?
That's the corner right in front of People's Park where we were at the parade.
Okay. And you had said, is People's Park across from Steaming Cup?
Oh, sorry, Steaming Cup, yeah. People's Park is directly across from Steaming Cup.
And that would have been the corner that you were located with your family?
At the Steaming Cup corner. Correct.
And do you see yourself depicted in this video?
I do.
Do you believe it accurately represents what you observed that day and what you did?
I do.
Okay. I would ask that Exhibit 49 be admitted into evidence and published to the jury.
Objection.
For the record, how long is the video clip?
It is 8 seconds.
All right, thank you. Exhibit 49 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
Thank you.
Objection. Noted for the record, Your Honor.
It is.
Okay, if we can play it starting at 0, going through the entire 8 seconds. Thank you. And you stated that you did see yourself in that video?
I did.
Going to the initial screen of that video, which would be at 0 seconds. Oh, if we can put it back up. Do you see yourself in, it's at 0 seconds, do you see yourself in this still frame?
Yes.
Can you circle, again, using the touch screen, where you are? And are you carrying Brindley?
I am.
Thank you. You can clear the screen. And next I would like to show just you on Exhibit 50. And see if you recognize this intersection as it plays through for approximately 5 seconds. Do you recognize that as being the intersection you and your family were at?
Just forward of our location, yes.
So as you're looking at this, would it be, as you're looking at the screen, to the left?
Objection. Leaving the witness.
Sustain this in the form of the question, if you would please rephrase.
Where would you and your family have been in relationship to this, where this video was taken?
To the left.
Okay. And the person taking the video, are they on the same side of the street as you are or a different side?
Objection. Second.
Overruled. You
Looks
may
to be
answer.
the same side as our street.
Okay. And you just saw the dancing grannies go through?
Correct.
Does that accurately depict what you observed prior to the car coming through the parade?
Yes.
Okay. I would ask the court to admit Exhibit number 50 and ask that it be published for the jury.
Your objections noted. Exhibit 50 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
So we're going to start at 0 and just go through the 11 seconds. And then I'll ask you questions about the video if you may start it. Sir, is that the red SUV that you previously described as striking your daughter?
It is.
And that white vehicle that you saw in that frame, was that the vehicle that you saw that was impeding your ability to see it initially, or is that a different vehicle?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled, you may answer.
I believe that was a different vehicle.
Okay. And was that the path of travel that you observed that vehicle take, which was on the north side, thank you, north side of the street?
It is.
And then after it passed that intersection, you indicated that it went towards the middle and into the grannies?
It felt like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, any questions for this witness?
Yes. Just 1 second. Do you remember what time it was when you observed the vehicle?
I don't recall the specific time I saw a red SUV, no.
You stated earlier that you saw the vehicle clip the corner. Would that be fair to say?
I saw it clip the corner where the children were standing, correct.
And what do you mean by clip?
Come into contact with children that were in the front of that group of kids.
Is that how you would define clip?
That's my definition of clip, correct.
You stated also that it veered quickly away from, I'm guessing, that corner. What do you mean by veered quickly away?
The vehicle at one point was coming straight at us, and then the next moment it was heading 45 degrees back on the original route, so it quickly turned to get back onto the street. Otherwise it would have come onto the corner, onto that intersection at Clinton Street.
So it's fair to say if the vehicle did not quickly veer, as you say, it would have ran right into the people on the corner.
That's a fair statement, yes.
Is it also a fair statement to assume that the vehicle veered quickly away from that because it didn't want to strike the people on that corner?
Objection.
Grounds.
Speculation.
Grounds.
Sustained, calls for speculation on the part of this witness. You do not have to answer.
In your opinion, why would the vehicle have quickly veered?
Objection. Again,
Grounds.
speculation.
Grounds.
Sustained, calls for speculation.
If you were driving the vehicle and were able at any time to see people directly in your path, would you veer away?
Objection. Relevance for this
Grounds.
trial.
Sustained.
And are the grounds for the sustain?
It's not relevant for this witness to answer that question. Calls for a hypothetical that he has not been qualified to answer. So it's also on foundation grounds.
Did you get a look at the driver of the vehicle?
I recall looking into the window, but my memory doesn't put a face to that or an image to that, so no.
Did you get the license plate number of the vehicle?
No.
You see any tents on the vehicle that you recall?
No, I was not paying attention to the vehicle after it came down barreling at the children. My eyes, tunnel vision to the kids.
So it'd be fair to say that with you focusing on the kids, it would be difficult to describe the vehicle at that point.
Outside of it obviously being a red SUV in my mind as I saw it come down, I couldn't recall any other details about the vehicle.
So it'd be fair to say the only thing you can recall about the vehicle was the color of it.
that it was a red SUV, a larger vehicle.
So the color of it.
Correct.
You stated that you initially waited before you seek medical attention. Any reason why you would wait?
I walked through the variables earlier. The hospital was on lockdown. I'm familiar with hospital operations enough to know that the acuity for my daughter didn't warrant me taking resources from other victims. My wife's a provider, an urgent care nurse practitioner. I felt she would be in a better position 15, 20 minutes later to assess and handle that from there.
You stated you did the father thing, as you put it, and downplayed the significance of the injury. Any reason why you would downplay it?
I think my initial reaction was a little confusion of what was going on and not seeing any bones sticking out or any blood. I immediately went into this sort of you're okay, meaning compared to everything else I'm seeing around us, you're in an okay position right now to get home. So I don't know if it was downplaying the injury per se, but it was more of just a triaging in my own mind of going, it's not that, it's okay.
It would be fair to say that the language you used was you downplayed the injury. Would that be fair to say?
Yep, that's correct.
After the vehicle passed you, did you observe anyone being struck?
No.
Before the vehicle approached, did you observe anyone being struck?
Yes.
You also stated that at one point, after you were observing the path of travel of the vehicle, that it felt like it was straightening up into the middle of the parade route. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
What do you mean by it felt that way?
Maybe in an incorrect term on my part. My recollection of the memory was that when it veered off, it went on and continued down the middle of Main Street.
So would it be fair to say that you really don't recall?
And I certainly recall the vehicle heading back down Main Street, down the middle of Main Street.
I'm referring to you saying that it, what it felt like as opposed to what you recall it doing.
I used the incorrect term there. When I said felt, it was more of the word choice of recall I should have used.
And you stated that you would estimate the speed of the vehicle to be about 25 miles an hour.
I said 25 to 30 miles per hour.
So somewhere in between that.
Correct.
And you also stated that it was the vehicle was about 30 feet away from you.
When I first initially saw the video, the vehicle was 30 feet away. It was just on the other side of the vehicle, the large suburban vehicle.
So how could you come to the determination of the speed?
Because it was barely right at us. So as it came around the vehicle, started coming towards us, it felt like 25 to 30 miles per hour, and then as it veered off, no brake lights, just veered off and continued right down Main Street at that rate of speed.
So it felt like that was the speed. It's the term you just used again, felt. It felt like it was going that speed.
So I'm using the term felt, and I am defining that as sort of a mental recollection or a gut feel. I'm not trained in assessing speed, so my gut feel, what I felt at that time, driving that street numerous times, is that it was going 25 to 30 miles per hour.
So would it be fair to say, based on what you just said, that you're not trained in speed analyzation, that Would it be fair?
Go ahead.
Would it be fair to say that you don't know exactly the speed of the vehicle?
Objection.
Grounds.
Answered.
That's based on what he
Hold
said.
on, you asked multiple questions, so I'm going off of the very last question that you asked. And that is, would it be fair to say that you don't know the speed of the vehicle? To that question, the objection's overruled and the witness may answer.
Yes, without looking at a speedometer, I would have no way of knowing exactly how fast that vehicle was going.
Did you notice any damage to the vehicle at that point that it passed you?
I don't recall honing in on that level of detail on the vehicle, so I don't recall.
Do you recall if you may have seen anyone else present in the vehicle?
I don't recall.
Did you ever make any statements to law enforcement after the incident at any time?
My wife and I both shared information on behalf of the crash report and our findings, or our initial statement.
You recall if that was the same night of the incident or in the following days after?
That was the following days.
Do you recall if it was a few days after or maybe a week or two?
I don't recall specifically. I believe probably within a week or so.
Any idea why it took so long for you to give a report? You and your wife, rather, to give a report?
Yeah, just dealing with my daughter and getting her situated and just the magnitude of the incident. I think it took them a little bit longer. I think we were in contact pretty quickly, but it just took a while for them to get the resources back to us to collect everything.
Did you initially initiate the contact which attempting to file a report?
I can't recall specifically. It's been close to a year, but I believe we did reach out to the DA's office at some point in the following days.
Did you do any follow-up after that initial contact to see if maybe your report had been filed or anything like that?
At that point, the DA's office stayed in contact with us to let us know that everything they needed had been captured.
Do you recall who you talked to from the DA's office?
I don't recall.
Do you recall do you recall being told that you may be called to testify in this matter?
I do.
Were you seeking to testify in this matter?
I know I was subpoenaed directly from the state, the DA's office.
So you didn't have any intention to testify in this matter before being subpoenaed?
I knew it was a possibility. I never reached out to request to testify. I let them do their job, and they reached out to me to let me know that I would get subpoenaed.
Have you read or seen any complaint in this matter?
Objection made.
Grounds?
Sustained.
Have you or your wife filed any claims in this matter?
Which claim? Define claims.
Referring to being an injured party or anything of that nature?
We submitted a claim with the DA's office, I believe, for potential medical reimbursement
So that would be in regards to the medical bills.
for my daughter, correct?
So would it be fair to say that you have a financial interest in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds?
Relevance.
Grounds?
Sustained.
Would you consider yourself to be an injured party in this matter?
Me personally, no. Not physically.
So you weren't injured in any way in this?
Not physically injured, no.
Are you aware of the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, relevance.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Ever had any contact with the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Vague. Sustained.
Ever had any phone conversations or personal interactions with the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Again, with regard to the nature of the question, it's vague.
Sustained.
I don't believe that's vague, Your Honor. I asked specifically if there were any phone conversations or personal interactions. I don't think that's vague. I think that's pretty clear.
Sustained.
And I also believe the jury deserves to know if there is a plaintiff in this matter.
Your objection's noted. It's to that particular statement, or your statement is noted. To the objection from the state, it is sustained. Next question, please.
Are you aware if there even is a plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
May I have the grounds for the sustain, Your Honor?
Relevance.
I would object and say that it's very relevant. Again, citing
Your
that.
objection is noted. Next question, please.
Were you ever contacted by anyone who identified as the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained. Still vague.
That's pretty clear, Your Honor. The jury deserves to know this information.
Mr. Brooks, the objection has been sustained. Next question, please.
No further questions.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Briefly. Sir, on cross-examination, you had testified that you did not see any brake lights. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Objection.
Ground.
Relevancy.
Overruled.
Sorry, correct, yes.
Okay. You testified further on cross-examination that you observed the red SUV strike an individual to your left. Is that correct?
Objection. He also stated that he was focused on his children and not focused on...
That's an argumentative statement. What's the legal basis for your objection, Mr. Brooks?
That is hearsay.
Overruled.
I did not see the individual to my left get hit. I just saw her on the ground, or the victim on the ground.
After you saw her on the ground, did the red SUV stop?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled. You may answer.
I did not see the red SUV from that duration of the parade. I didn't see the red SUV until the vehicle had already passed that position and came around the other large SUV. So I can't speak to what happened back there.
Was there anything that you could see in the roadway that would have prevented that red SUV from stopping before it started veering towards your group?
Objection. Hearsay. Stated he didn't see.
The
couldn't see
objection to
above that.
hearsay is noted. It's overruled. You may answer.
Can you ask the question again, please?
Certainly. Did you see anything in front of you that would have prevented the red SUV from stopping as it passed that car that obstructed your view initially?
Objection. Irrelevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
Nothing that I saw would have stopped him. That wouldn't have allowed him to stop.
Okay. And after he impacted your group that was watching the parade and it continued on towards the Dancing Grannies, was there anything that you could see that would have stopped the red SUV?
Objection. Who is the he you're referring to?
I don't understand the objection. Were you done asking your question?
I was.
Overruled. You may
Objection.
answer.
I don't consent to being called he. We don't even know the he that's being referred to.
Overruled.
The witness didn't identify a he.
Overruled.
I don't recall seeing anything in the road that would have stopped him from stopping, prevented him from stopping.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. You may step down. This will be an excellent point to take our mid-morning break. We'll be in recess for about 15 minutes. All rise for the jury, please. All right, thank you, everyone. We are in recess. We'll be back in about 15 minutes.